Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Lights Camera Discussion podcast. My name is Mass903, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, two gentlemen who at different points in their lives both had the nickname The Rider, Chloe and Todd. Guys, how are we doing today?
All good, mate. You?
Good, thank you. Very good. Very excited for this one as well. It was, of course, my choice. I think we just get straight into it. We just get right into it. Bing, bang, bong. Straight into it. Let's go. Right, okay. So today we're going to be talking about Chloe Zhao. So Chloe Zhao was a Chinese-born filmmaker known mainly for her work in independent films. She's been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, winning 2, all for one of the films we'll also be talking about today. Known for telling the intimate, authentic stories of diverse people, she also takes on writing duties as well as producing and editing her films. With her latest film, Hamnet, due for release in December in the US and January in the UK, she may be on course for more Oscar nominations in the near future. Now, on the back of that, Collie, I think you're going to be going to see Hamnet sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm seeing it this afternoon at 4 o'clock. One of the London Film Festival previews at my local indie cinema. So it's good that we're going to be talking about our films, today, and then go in with all that fresh in my mind to watch Hamnet. It's just got a lot of pre-Oscars buzz and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for it. Lucky boy getting to see it. What is that going to be? 2 months in advance of the US, and then 3 months in advance of us. So
yeah. Some
boy. Okay, let's get on to the first film in Chloe Zhao's filmography. So we have Songs My Brother Taught Me. Released in 2015, it's about 2 siblings living on Pine Ridge Reservation. They face challenges after their father's death. The brother considers leaving for LA, but it would mean separating from his beloved sister. So, I mean, obviously this is my choice. I've kind of said that I'll be taking the point with most stuff here, so I'll kick us off with this one. I liked it to a point. I think there was some good things it did, some interesting characters. The way it was shot as well, I thought was really cool, but it kind of lost me, certainly towards the midway point, towards the end. It just felt a bit, I don't know, lacking something. I just kind of lost my sort of affinity towards it towards the end, which is a shame. But I think some of the performances were actually pretty good, especially also we're talking about them, but the youngest kid, and it was such an interesting way of life to tell as well, story to tell. So I kind of appreciate it on that side, but yeah, it kind of lost its way for me about part way through. Collie, what were your thoughts on this film?
So it was a first watch for me. I really enjoyed it. I feel in watching, certainly our first 3 films, we're going to be talking about similar kind of choices, tonality, etc., etc. It kind of reminds me. Todd said it really well in the Jeff Nichols episode. It's like a slice of life. Some of these the first 3 films, I feel. It's funny. There was a summation of our first couple of films I seen online, which was she focuses on the real lives and struggles of the surrounding community. The films showcases the realness of people and the problems they're faced with. So, because it's on this reservation and it's nothing that like we can relate to personally, it's always really difficult to get a buy-in. But I think through the way it's shot, the performances, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite a really concise film. Was it 90 minutes, 98 minutes or whatever? So not overly long. Just one of those films that as a debut, and then as we'll talk about our follow-up films, I think it just sets the groundwork for what I feel is really her forte and what she's really good at. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Todd?
Yeah, it was a decent debut, and one that you can see that she's getting stronger every time she makes this kind of film, like as in that slice of life stuff. I think for me it was a little bit too meandering, maybe is the word, like as in it didn't have as much of a point, it didn't have as much of a direction as such, and I think it could have done with that a little bit more. And like you said, I know we're going to get onto them. I think the performances were brilliant. I think some of the shots are stunning. Like she really has an eye for that. And the other thing, I don't know if we'll get to talk about it, but in 3 of her films, she has she shows a sense of community so well, and I think, as a debut, you see that really well in this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting, Colin, what you said about the talk about sort of the Jeff Nichols episode, because one of the things that it really reminded me of was Shotgun Stories. How it's
100%.
kind of the sort of the poor setting, people kind of just get by, but with strong family ties, and I felt very it felt very much like that. And also another person that kind of it kind of reminded me of was Sean Baker, who did obviously know that, but like was it Pineapple? I think his film about that he shot on a iPhone about like a prostitute, and it felt really like down to earth and it's kind of gritty, but then also like kind of warm as well. It was I thought it was nice to see those sort of comparisons, or sort of like feel that from that she's done, and sort of see the sort of similar sort of qualities that it had to films like that, especially Shotgun Stories, of course, with what we've spoken about. I mean, we'll get on to the kind of the acting performances. Obviously, it's kind of anchored by the two kids, or well, one's obviously a bit older, Johnny and Jay Sean. They're obviously, this is kind of what Chloe Zhao does well, is taking like almost real stories and giving them a bit more to them, sort of thing. Obviously, they're both real people, and it's kind of based on their real lives and things as well. Which I think in turn makes it easier for the actors because they've already been there, done that kind of thing. But Colin, what was your thoughts on those two specifically?
I thought they were really strong performances, especially from we'll say non-actors, potentially with minimal training or anything like that. But no, they definitely make you buy into the fact that they're siblings. The younger sister, Jashawn, just excellent. I thought portrayed that kind of childish naivety, but also that kind of strong-willed nature when she starts going and hanging out with that Travis character later on and stuff like that, and visits him right in prison right near the end and stuff like that. But I thought she was a standout. But John's the main boy that we're following and stuff. I thought his performance was really good. I thought his interactions with his girlfriend, his family, her family. I thought one of my kind of lighter moments in it that I enjoyed was when he was talking with his half brother in the diner thing, and they're talking about the jalapeno poppers, and they're winding each other up about if they can handle the spice and stuff like that. I thought it was really good. And just back on like the general film and our first 3 films, it's like it's almost a documentary style of she just rocks up, films whatever time scale of these people's lives, and then like leaves. There's a start of the film, obviously, but like stuff's happened before that you don't really know the context of yet or at all. And then at the end of the film, it's kind of left open-ended to, obviously he's decided to stay and work with his half brother at this chop shop kind of, or like mechanic shop or whatever. Is he still with his girlfriend? Is he not? Like, just because they're not moving away, does that mean they're going to split up and stuff? Like, it's just like Chloe Zhao kind of just arrives, films for a bit, and then leaves. And not in like a bad way, but that's just how the films do. And that's back to that slice of life of this could be a documentary, this could be real people. It's obviously based on, either experiences that Zhao's had, or she feels people have had, or people have told her that they've had and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good and very well anchored by the 2 lead performances. But I thought even just every interaction with supporting cast members, I didn't really think like any of the supporting cast was like, oh, they were a bit shit, oh, they were a bit wooden. Like, I thought everyone just complimented each other. There was nothing like it's like, oh my god, like these guys could go on to be movie stars in their own right, certainly in this film. But I thought like I say, 98 minutes, hour and a half, you're sitting watching it, everyone thoroughly engaged me. And there was no performances that stood out to me, like I say, that took me out of it or anything like that, on a debut on this low budget and working with this many like non-actors, untrained actors, like only like small trained actors or whatever. There's always sometimes people that are like overacting, but it's really all downplayed, and I think it complements the film in that way.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I think that's where her strength is that she gets the authentic performances out of anyone, really. As you say, non-actors, actors, and she can do that well. And that's a sign of like a director that can let her cast tell their stories as well as her telling their stories, you know. So it's yeah, I really I totally agree with that. Todd, what was your thoughts on the performances?
Yeah, I think Deshaun, she's so believable. That the moment where she's picking through the burnt remains of her dad's house, like that could have been so over the top. Like, do you know what I mean? And it was simple and it was subtle. I love the conversation she has with the cop. You know, the copper who after they've raided and talked about, oh, you're knocking around with bootleggers or whatever he says. Like that there, like she holds her own against an adult. And I think they say like she's 11, 10 or 11. Yeah, I think she was fantastic. I think John was good. I think she was my standout. She was definitely my standout. But I think John, like I say again, that the power when he's confronted by the two lads who were also selling the alcohol and stuff and like you're on our patch type thing. Like again, getting that performance, like you say, from a non-actor was absolutely brilliant. I think the big thing is not being taken out of it. I think that's a great shout. Is like, you know, there's going to be somebody. There's bound to be somebody. And I think, and again, I think this is, as far as I can remember, as far as I can think, a trend through those three films is that nobody really takes you out of it. And I think that's on Chloe Zhao. But yeah, I thought it was solid throughout.
Yep. One of the things I would say on the back of the kind of two of them is that for me personally, I found it a lot more interesting when it was from Jay Sean's perspective. Like when it was telling it from Johnny's kind of perspective, it was good and things, but I preferred seeing it almost like as the innocence through her eyes, which gripped me more than the kind of drug runner sort of that aspect of things. I really liked seeing it from Jay Sean's eyes. Was there anything that stood out for yourself, Collie, in terms of the storytelling, or anything that Zhao did that would stood out for yourself?
And I wouldn't say anything that stood out, but like I say, it just like it felt like a real story. It's like, you know, throughout time and throughout like all sorts of, you know, walks of life, there's going to be this, you know, young couple who want to move away to like better themselves or anything like that, and then sometimes it'll go, you know, the way they want it. Sometimes it'll fall apart. Sometimes it'll kind of end like this, which is just he decides to stay with his sister because he sees, you know, how his mother is and all the mess with his dad and his siblings, which all the way back to what you're saying about Shotgun Stories, that there is that kind of parallel of obviously there was the two feuding families in that regard, but all these siblings seem to be a lot more like on speaking terms and they understand how their dad was and all that kind of stuff. So that was interesting, but no, nothing like stood out per se for me. It was just like, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way. It's one of those things that I don't know if it's like not a meism, because I hate to be like, am I the only one? Because I hate that kind of stuff. But do you know, like if people ask you how a meal is or whatever, and you're like, oh, that was fine.
Yeah.
But like when we say it, you mean fine as in like, oh, that was really nice, like tasting and blah 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 blah. So like, this is one of those films to me like, oh, how was it? And like, oh, it was fine, or it was nice, but I don't mean it in terms of like in a derogatory way, or if it was just like middle of the road way. Like I mean nice as in like it was just a pleasant film to sit through and experience. You know, it doesn't always have to be, you know, action and explosions and big monologues and stuff that you get in like all these like, you know, good films, great films, some of the best films, some of my favorite films. But this is just one of those ones that I enjoy directors like this, and I enjoy why we do this, because it allows you to just watch films like this and just experience a nice film that may never watch it again, but I didn't regret the, you know, 45 minutes that I spent watching it 2 times, you know.
Really.
Todd, anything to add on the?
I think the scene where John goes to deliver the drink to the house and it's like absolute chaos. There's just shit everywhere, and there's like kids, not literal feces, and there's kids like screaming and crying, and the mum's just like comatose on the couch, and like he drops. I think scenes like that where it kind of like. Because, like you say, it is a nice film, and it's like you see these relationships. At no point was I concerned, which is a weird thing to say, but like at no point was I concerned for Jishawn when like she went to Travis's. Like I didn't think anything seedy's going to happen here. I didn't think like she's in danger. it is a nice film about this community, but like it's peppered with moments where like you see that despair and you see why he wants to move away and stuff. Like the when he gets attacked, and I thought that was a nice little. So it's just after the conversation with the copper in the car, and the copper says, "Is John staying out of trouble?" And she says yes, and then she changes the subject. And then literally the scene after is John driving down the road, gets dragged out of his car, beaten, and set on fire and stuff. So it is punctuated with those moments. But I get what you mean, Collie, about it being like just a fine film. Like, it's fine. It's one that, I enjoyed it. I think I probably rated it too low. Now I'm thinking about it in terms of like, objectively, I know you can't be objective about a film, but I thought the cinematography was stunning as well. I think that's one thing that she does get in all of her films is she knows how to pick a shot, especially of faces and of like the hands. And I thought that tactile filmmaking, we'll call it. There you go. That's another one.
So you can't be objective, but you can be pretentious. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I can be an absolute wanker. Yes, 100%.
I would just say it's an interesting point you bring up about her going to Travis and how you never felt like that, because like the only point where there's a bit of where she sees a bit of lawlessness that he partakes in, or like something else, he feels horrible that she had to see that and stuff as well. And it's quite a nice touch that they added that in, because it added proper humanity to him, and that they obviously cared for her. Not there was nothing nefarious about it. He just genuinely cared for her as part of the community. Okay, anything else you guys want to add with this film, or shall we go into her? I mean, Todd's already done quote and scene obviously, of course, but
that might not have been his favourite, but yeah, no, I'm keen. I'm keen to move on to the three topics.
Okay, so well, I'll start with quote. It's kind of a conversation, but it's more the end quote that kind of did it for me. It was between Johnny and Cody. So it was Johnny, did you hear about Dad? Cody, yeah. Johnny, they didn't really find much of him. Cody, shit. Johnny, I went to the funeral. Cody, how was it? Johnny, there was a lot of cowboys. Jay Sean was sad. Cody, for what? Johnny, I don't know. I guess that's kind of weird for her, as if he was suddenly back in her lives now that he's dead. And then Cody says, "Ain't that funny?" I thought that was such an interesting conversation between the back and forth between the two of them. So not quite a quote as such; it's more discussion. But yeah, that was for me. Collie, favorite quote?
It's not the same conversation, but Cody is in it. It's actually with Lisa, the mum. It's when she visits him in prison, and she's saying, similar to you, it's a conversation, but it's the end quote that's stood out to me. So she's saying, "I've been going to church, I've been going a lot, it really helps." Cody, what helps? Lisa, God, you should let him help you. And then Cody says, "Nah, that's all right. Glad you found hope though." And then he just like this, line is just delivered so coldly, but just don't make God another man that you abandon your children for. Like, I just thought that was absolutely savage, and kind of a summation of how he feels his mum's wronged him and his parents in general have wronged him and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought that was really heavy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Todd?
I had the same one as Collie. I thought it was so well done. And I think because Lisa's quite a background character, we see her a couple of times, and obviously because she's a background figure in these kids' lives, so I thought it was perfect for what I was trying to say.
Good stuff. So scene for me was I kind of struggled a little bit with finding a scene that's really stood out as such. For me, it was probably there was a short scene when Jay Sean was putting a dress and celebrating like her heritage in a party thing, and it just felt like, yeah. It just felt like one of the few times where she was properly like smiling and there wasn't anything else going on in the background to like drag her away from it. She just looked happy. So yeah, that was my really short one, but again, it just kind of accentuated what I got from the film. So yeah, Collie.
For me, again, it was a short scene, and it just kind of in passing. But it's when Johnny and Aurelia are around the bonfire after the American football match and stuff like that. It's a lot of the native chanting throughout the soundtrack and the natural light and the embers from the fire like swirling around them. I thought it was just a really wonderfully shot scene. So there was no dialogue or anything like that. It was purely just a visual thing, but I really enjoyed that. I thought that kind of speaks to how Chloe Zhao like shoots films and wants films to look, and as we've said throughout this one, just develops it like film on film. So I thought that was kind of an early like directorial choice that stood out to me.
Good stuff. Todd?
Mine's a relatively short one as well. It was in the canyon sort of bit where they keep going to, where Jay Sean asked about, "Are you really leaving me?" Where she's like pressing John for the answer, and then that drive back. I think she, was solid, and I think that really showed how good she was and how subtle she was. Again, it wasn't over the top. It rocked me a bit for her character. Yes, I thought it was really powerful.
Okay, an MVP. So, I mean, there was a clear answer for me, but I thought I would try something a little bit different. And for me, it was the cinematographer, Joshua James Richards, Chloe Zhao's partner, and it was cinematographer for 3 of the 4 movies. Unbelievable. Some of the shots are just absolutely incredible. Helps make the reservation almost a character in itself with the way he shoots it. Yeah, I thought it was actually wonderful. Some of the cinematography. Collie?
For me, it was just Chloe Zhao in general. I think like it sets herself up really well for the following couple of films. I just thought from a debut standpoint, she was great.
And Todd?
I went with Jashawn. I agree with both, and I think it could have been either of those two for me, but Jashawn really took it for me, especially being so young.
Good stuff. Okay, and we'll go on to ratings. So, I feel it's a tough one because I rated it 3, but I feel like it could easily be 3.5. But then I'm also like, but is it like I don't know if it goes much higher than that for me just because the type of film it is. But yeah, I rated it 3, sort of just above down the middle.
You're like, is it a 1.5, or is it just a star less than Man Without a Face? That's what you're trying to work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to work out. But I remembered Man Without a Face is one of the best films ever made, so it's fine. It's fine.
It's gonna be.
Yeah. Collie?
I gave it 3.5, and I'm quite happy with my rating. I feel that's fair.
Yeah. And Todd?
I went 3, but I think it should probably be a little bit higher.
Cool. I think it's quite nice that it's sort of like a mix of things, but also we're kind of all on the same page as well, which is good. Yeah. Which is very good.
I'm a happy rater on Letterboxd most of the time. I just tend to be like bump stuff up maybe half a star more than I should have, and then if I hate it, then I definitely like give it a harsher rating. So yeah.
That's fair enough. I
must admit, it depends on my mood. I'm just like, if I'm in a good mood, I'll bump up a film like that a little bit more. But a 3.5, like average is 3.7.
Oh well.
So slightly higher than all 3 of us maybe. But I think on chatting through it and stuff, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but as well, it's parts. Like how we're saying it's like a 3-star, 3.5 star. It's not like a bad 3-star. Do you know what I mean? It's
no, but it's like we say. It's like not all 3 stars and 3.5 stars are equal. So no shouting, no reenactment of Philip Seymour Hoffman and Punch Drunk Love for this one at least.
No pig fucks, thank you. Okay, so we will move on to the next one, Chloe Zhao's filmography. We're moving on to the titular character for you guys, the Rider. So after suffering a near fatal head injury, a young cowboy undertakes a search for a new identity and what it means to be a man in the heartland of America. So, again, I'll start off with this. First thoughts. I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. An incredible film with some real heart to it. It reminded me of, and I think it would have been done. The other film I was thinking of being done first, but it reminded me of The Wrestler for horse riders or buckaroos, whatever they're called. It had that same type of this person who was a highly thought of in their job, their sort of hobby, their thing that they're doing, and then suffers a catastrophic event that then means they have to choose between their humans or their their life basically and their passion essentially. I thought it was a phenomenal film, incredible performances, which again we'll talk about very soon. I was really, really impressed with this film. Collie?
So similar to what we were saying about the previous film, like, it's a nice film, it's a fine film. I watched both of them for the first watch again. Sorry, just for me to clarify, this was a first watch as well. Watched them both on the same day, and nothing could really separate them for me personally. And then it wasn't until like last night and between watches, I'd read up a little bit on the behind the scenes stuff, the fact that it's based on Brady Jandro's like real life, an IRL friend of him's involved and stuff like that. It just, the realness of it moved me a lot more on rewatch, to the point it was very emotional. I feel I took a lot more out of it last night than I did on my first watch. I don't know if it was just because I watched them like bam bam back to back, or kind of similar styles, settings, not story per se, but just it's all, you could kind of lump them together, that they could have worked in the same universe almost, like this could be happening at the same time as as each other. But yeah, just last night, I just was blown away by it. Again, previously to what I was saying before about my ratings, like if I'm in a good mood, I think like, not that I was in a bad mood when I first rated it, but I was just like, oh yeah, that was a good film, like, decent film, whatever. Whereas last night I was a lot more like drawn towards it, and I think that was because of the behind the scenes stuff. I know Todd normally says, I don't look at Letterboxd ratings before I rate it. I do that because obviously it just comes up when you search the page, so I just have a glance anyway, but I try not research films before I watch them if I can. And because a lot of these films that we're doing aren't like big films you don't really see on, like, because the lead up into films nowadays or around films nowadays, on Twitter there's always like, oh, this is a behind the scene thing, this is a bit of trivia, blah 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 blah. But because these are lesser known, like I had no idea about any of the true story aspect of it or what it was based on. So when I first watched it, I was like, oh, it's just a story, but I think the realness really lended to it. So yeah, I was blown away by it last night. And yeah, really looking forward to talking about it more.
Yep. Todd?
Yeah, this took everything that was good about Songs My Brother Taught Me and just like elevated it. I think it was, like you said, obviously it's got a little bit more to it because these are actual people playing out. It's almost autobiographical in terms of them playing out their lives and stuff. I thought performances were amazing. Again, the cinematography stunning. I'm with you, Collie, in terms of like how hard it hit me. There's a couple of scenes I know we'll talk about that really, really like got me. Do you know what I mean? And I think to have this lad who's like playing himself. Sorry, I know we shouldn't be jumping ahead. Nomadland hits that documentary style a little bit more than this did. This feels more like a film with non-actors, and then you've got like this Oscar winner in a documentary feeling film. And I think that's testament to Zhao and to the performers. It's one I'll watch again, and it's one I'm looking forward to going back through. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's kind of go into Brady then, and sort of like his performance and also behind the scenes. Collie, do you want to kind of talk about his behind the scenes then that you've obviously kind of researched and stuff for folk?
So basically, he had a similar head injury. So Chloe Zhao met him on the set of the previous film. He was just like horse wrangler. I think that they were using to utilize throughout some of the scenes or whatever, and she's just seen something about him. She's compared him to like a young Heath Ledger in terms of his intensity, and she watched him just the way that he was with the horses and that, and she was like, if a guy can, not provoke, but like bring out that reaction of a horse or the calmness and the stillness, she's like, this guy can, bring that to a movie audience. So she started working towards how to get a story going, and then about his head injury, and he brought that in. I thought it was like such like a stoic performance, but not in like a stoic and no emotion kind of thing, because I think he does display plenty of emotion, but yeah, I thought he was incredible, and the fact that he's not done anything really afterwards in the, what is it, 8 years? It's 2017, I think it was. Yeah, 2017. Yeah. Like, he's not done anything, and it seems to me like not disappointing. It is disappointing, but obviously he's just got like other stuff going on in his life or whatever. But even if this is his only ever acting credit, or major acting credit, I think it'll stand the test of time of how good it is. Like, he immediately brings you in. His interactions with his dad, I thought were really good. It's his real dad and his real sister, and the lassie that he smokes weed with later on is his real wife, stuff like that. So like, I don't know. Like, never having acted, surprisingly enough, I don't know if acting with like people that you have those real relationships with would be more difficult or easier. Kind of feel like it would be easier, but also like if there's like rawness or like pain or anything like that, like sometimes that would probably be a bit overwhelming. But it just felt real, and obviously like it lends to the fact that it is real, a lot of it. But even if like none of this was real and it was all fabricated, it's believable enough that it's real. So the fact that it is like an added bonus. Like I said, first watch of it, I was just like, oh, that was some good performances. I enjoyed it. And then when you read about it after the fact, you're just like, yeah, blown away by it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you're
Right,
right.
yeah. Sorry, I just loved him. Like, just
Yeah,
the fact that like the young Heath Ledger comparison is spot on. And yeah, just conversations, all that kind of stuff. Even like they filmed him like breaking horses, I think they call it, or whatever, in real time for some of the shots. It's not like staged or anything. He's literally doing that to like a stallion or a horse or whatever that needed tamed, and that's obviously like that's his livelihood out with the film, or it was out with the film. So filming that, like, I think, did they film it through the slats?
through the gates.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. We're getting more into the film, the filming of it now. But Massey, what did you think about Brady?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I would just say at the back of that, the in real time of him breaking that horse, it's like so emotional, and it's like it's such an unexpected emotion. It's not like happiness, it's not like sadness. It's just like you're seeing this person who is incredible at what they do and is passionate with what they do, and he's just doing it. It's almost like the camera's not even there. We're just watching him do that, and it's astounding. It really is. But no, his performance, I think you're absolutely spot on saying about the stoic performance. It's stoic, and he doesn't show much emotion outwardly, but it's almost like you can tell through the screen that inside, like how he's feeling. Like that's how incredible his performance is. It draws you into him, so you can almost like feel him through this, feel his emotions through the screen. But yeah, no, 100%. It's a fantastic point you made about acting with people that you know and people with relationships. How different is that from being a thespian, I suppose, you know, like who is just acting. But for him, obviously it worked perfectly. Yeah, I for that being his only film is just astounding to me. He was unbelievable the whole time, and yeah, it's some performance. I mean, obviously we can touch on other folk as well, but he's the main. Obviously, you know, as Todd said, it's like basically autobiographical. But yeah, so he was just unbelievable. Like he's absolutely an incredible performance, and it's one that I'm really looking forward to watching again. Just again for his performance, because it's incredible, absolutely incredible. Todd?
Yeah, I'm with you, with both of you on everything you said. I think stuff like his physicality when he's unfurling his own fist, like obviously that's not happening to him now. That happened to him previously, and like you said, does that bring up some level of like emotional stress? Does it make things difficult for him? But he gets that spot on. I think his interactions with his sister, and I think having them two together and not having somebody play Lily, number one, is really important, because you know she'll have had to they'll have had to have been a specific type of actor, like somebody who can play her, and it's not going to be right. Having her play herself is really important, and I think she does I know we'll move on to other performances. I think she does a cracking job. His interactions with Lane fucking kill me every single time. I wanted those scenes to be over in the best possible way, because it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating. I think you get this impression from him from the very beginning that he, like, his dreams are fucked. Like from the, like, when he sat around the table and he's with his dad and his sister and stuff, and they talking, and you can just see that look behind his eyes of just like, he knows from the beginning, and like you get that impression from the beginning of the film that it's just not going to happen for him. That it's just not. He knows he's not. He's either going to end up like Leighton, or he's going to have to jack it in. And I think he did an incredible job with that. I didn't realize that the breaking the horse was in real time, which just makes his performance even more impressive. That not only can he act, but he's got these skills as well. Yeah,
I don't know if, because I just read that he broke like some of the. I don't know if it was one specific scene or if it was multiple scenes with the horses were him naturally breaking them. I don't know if there was one that was like specifically the real time one, because there's multiple scenes throughout the film, obviously, of him breaking horses. So I didn't really catch what one was specifically the one that was filmed in real time, because a lot of them were like long shots and stuff. Was it Apollo in the pen?
Yes, yeah.
Through the slats was the real one. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Sorry, Todd's coughing. Was that anything else, Todd? Sorry.
But no, that was it. I just like I'm with you. I thought it was a stunning performance, and if, like I say, gutted that it might be his only one, but he's left a legacy type thing. I think is the big thing.
Yeah. I mean, just piggyback on the back of what you said there, like the scenes with Lane were some of the most moving, almost bittersweet scenes that I've seen in a long time. Especially when they're watching him when he used to bull ride, or sorry, what's it? Rodeo ride, whatever.
Rodeo, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. When he used to be in the rodeo, like riding horses and stuff. Like it was just, as I say, it's so bittersweet. The kind of watching him be able to do what the passion is, but now he's obviously stuck in the wheelchair and stuff as well. So yeah, it's
Did you just read
unbelievable.
on the behind the scenes stuff of the Lane
Yeah.
thing? So he was in a car accident and stuff like that, and they hadn't seen each other before they filmed together and stuff like that. I think it was what was it? It was Brady's first time seeing Lane at the rehab center, and the first time Lane had seen Brady since Brady's injury. So they filmed like I think it was 4 hours worth of stuff or something like that they threw in. Chloe Zhao, there was a documentary crew had been preparing to make a feature documentary about Lane before his accident, but pulled out after he was injured, and Zhao said that was so silly because that's where his story really started. So yeah, I think like having read that and then watching that back last night, that was probably the most moving thing for me, was that there were like real life friends, real life injuries and trauma. They haven't not seen each other for obviously a long time. Yeah, just the interactions together were very moving, I thought, and really well shot, like respectfully. Because I think Zhao was quite reticent to do it because she wasn't sure how far she could push Lane in terms of acting and stuff like that. But I think the amount of rope and the amount of time and respect that she probably gave, Lane and Brady to do what they did paid dividends in what she captured and how it came across in the film.
Mm-hmm. Damn. I'm feeling like kind of like sad again, just like thinking about some of the stuff, and yeah,
It was very heavy.
Sad, yeah, sad in like I suppose a good way, but like 'cause obviously it evokes that emotion from you. So yeah, any other folk you want to talk about? Anything else you want to kind of discuss before we move on to MVPs?
I've got like film stuff to talk about
Yeah,
rather than the acting performances. So previously mentioned the cinematographer Joshua James Richards, her boyfriend. I don't know if they're married at the time, but it's listed as her boyfriend. They covered it all using their credit cards, the $80,000 to make this. It ended up making like something like $4 million or something. So it did. The investment was well, was worth it essentially. But no, they're talking about how there's only 6 crew members, relied on natural light and Walmart LED strips, and Zhao. And we'll touch on this. Certainly, this Nomadland, and it's mentioned in the Eternals behind the scenes documentary, but Zhao says she will shoot every magic hour if I am as long as I'm alive, and the magic hour, the golden hour, is one of Zhao's, I think, like secret sauce almost to some of her films, when she catches it at that kind of sun-breaking kind of time. So just a little, I did Google what is the magic hour, what is the golden hour. It's a period of soft, warm, reddish light shortly after sunrise and before sunset, making it a favourite time for photographers due to its beautiful and flattering light. It's also known as the golden hour and is distinct from the blue hour, which occurs just before sunrise and after sunset, when the sky has a deeper blue hue. So it's that kind of golden, orange, reds and stuff like that she seems to capture in a lot of the scenes. And especially like this and Nomadland and Eternals. Like I say, it's really it does like literally shine through that she likes to film at that, and I think it lends itself to all that kind of, I don't know, the message like of like the awakening, of the brightness, of the hope almost. I think that she tries to convey into her films through using that, that small period of time of to be able to film. I think she really nails it, and it's like a trademark of hers, I would say.
And it's just like a warm feeling as well, isn't it? That sort of like color.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it conveys that warmth, that hope, that kind of,
Yeah.
Just almost like realness as well, because like it's not manufactured or anything like that. It's like she's literally filming at that time. It's not like a CGI green screen of let's just like up that hue a little bit, let's make it a little bit redder, let's make it a little bit blah blah blah. She might have like enhanced that maybe in Eternals, but certainly in this and Nomadland, it's all natural, it's all real, and that lends itself to the films as well. They feel real.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, anything else you want to talk about, guys, or happy enough to move on to?
No, topics for me is fine.
Yeah, cool, perfect. So, favorite quote for me, it's an obvious one. It's Brady. If any animal around here got hurt like I did, they'd have to be put down. Like it sums the story up in one line, basically. Yeah, Collie.
So it's just literally maybe a couple of sentences after that. When he says, Lily, I believe God gives each of us a purpose, and Lily's very true. And he says to the horse, it's to run across the prairie, and for a cowboy, it's to ride. So I thought that was just very heavy, and obviously in reference to the story and stuff, the fact that like he walks away, and he sees his family watching him, even though his dad's like, oh, you're away to go kill yourself, essentially. His dad and sister were still there supporting him and stuff, and his dad nods at him and he nods back and stuff like that. Just obviously this is separate from the quote. It might be one of your scenes that I'm stealing, but like just the way that was put forth just puts into context the whole film and his whole decision process, I think.
Absolutely. Todd?
Mine was, it's all the same to a cowboy ride through the pain, when they sat around the campfire and talking about it. I think like it sums up the whole film of like this belief in masculinity, and this is what we do. We are cowboys. Yeah.
And we are cowboys as well.
We certainly are.
Kind of.
You can play Red Dead 2, Massey?
No, Red Dead 1 though. I was going to make a joke about a horse, but let's not go down that route. So scene, best scene for me, it's Brady and Lane doing therapy when he's on the horse, and Brady's the one kind of almost controlling him. It's so like in equal parts heartwarming, in equal parts devastating, because it's what they do, but they physically can't do it unless they're at this point. So, and yeah, it also feels like it's the only time again where Brady seems happy. Poor guy, but yeah, that scene broke me like he breaks the horses. Collie?
Yeah, funnily enough, it was when he broke Apollo and he's filmed through the slats and stuff like that, and then the aftermath of that is him riding him, in the open and stuff. I thought that was beautiful.
And Todd?
Mine was the last scene with Lane after he's walked away from the rodeo and go. I just think again, it's this sort of like, he is what it could have been, he is what it is, and that decision of leaving behind what he wants. Again, like you, it just absolutely fucking kills us. And like, yeah, it's one of the main reasons I'm looking forward to watching it again, is that emotional end to it.
Absolutely. And finally, MVP. I think we might all be unanimous here. This might be the closest one we've got. Brady for me, easily. Collie?
Yep, same.
Todd? Yeah, Brady. Yeah.
Good. Thoroughly deserved. Thoroughly deserved. Right, scores then. Scores in the doors. For me, 4.5, ranging on a 5, to be perfectly honest. Brilliant. Collie?
So back to my first conversation. So I gave it 3.5. So I gave it the same as the first film, but last night I changed it to a 4.5. And I actually, after watching it, I bought it on Amazon Prime so I can rewatch it again, because I think it would be a 5 in the long term. So I won't watch it again like instantly, but I feel like if I want a good upsetting film, then I'll watch it, and I can imagine it'll be a 5 at that point.
Absolutely. And Todd,
It's a 4 from me, but it's only going to get stronger. I know.
you're a joke. You're a joke.
But yeah, I'll take it. I'll take the G's. It's fine.
Okay, wow. I feel kind of like a bit down, but also a bit up as well, like because it's such a good film.
I don't think the next film's going to make that any better.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, let's get straight into it. And the next film is Nomadland. A woman in her 60s, after losing everything in the Great Recession, embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling modern-day nomad. Thus, Nomadland. So me starting off, this is kind of a second watch, but not really. So I started watching it like not long after it was on Disney Plus, because I'd heard so much great things about it, and I got halfway through and I was kind of bored. I couldn't get into it. So look at like kind of choosing Chloe Zhao for this. I was like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna have to properly sit through it and kind of watch it objectively, I suppose. And
You see it like that. You chose it as well. You're like,
yeah, I know.
"Oh, God."
No. So, but that was one of the reasons that I chose her, because I knew that it was meant to be a good film, but I'd never got into it. I'm so glad I chose Chloe Zhao, because this is an absolute masterpiece. Like, it is just outstanding from first moment to end. Again, all the Chloe Zhao kind of hallmarks, the authenticity, the real life people, some of the shots, the sort of story as well, performances. It's unbelievable, and it's probably as close to a perfect film as I think it'll get for me. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. Collie?
Yeah, like I remember watching it around the time that it won the Oscars. And I remember, enjoying it. Love Frances McDormand anyway. But the realness of it, some of the supporting performances from people that are like real life nomads and stuff, that was excellent. So having rewatched this twice in prep for this, enjoyed it the first watch, and then absolutely loved it on second watch. It's weird. Like it's a very typical, I would say, Frances McDormand performance. She does carry the film as you'd expect her to, but I think every interaction she elevates scenes. But I think everyone with her compliments her. Some of the shots amazing, and the music as well. I thought the music in this was beautiful. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of the ones when I was being like, oh fuck's sake, Chloe's out. I was looking forward to rewatching this. Knowing that I enjoyed it on original watch years ago, but I was like obviously having podcasted for a bit now, watching it with a bit more of a serious, quote unquote serious head on. Enjoyed it, and it lived up to what I remember it being.
Yep. Todd?
Yeah, so I seem to remember when we watched this for the Oscars, just being sort of like,
Did we?
okay.
No, we didn't watch it for the
Was
Oscars.
this before the Oscars?
I'm sure it was the year before we did the first Oscars special.
Oh.
Because I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't think we watched this year, and we'll touch on it later. But it was quite a weak year.
Maybe
Oscars
I watched
because it was the COVID year, because it was 2021. I think it was the early 2021, and then I
Right.
think it's 22 was the first one that we
When we
covered.
did
I
it.
think. Yeah.
Maybe, when I watched it, maybe just like because it was nominated, and I was just like, okay, like she's great. Like Frances McDormand's great, but so what? Watched it again for this, and then I've watched it again this morning, as like a last little bit of prep, and I haven't logged it again, but it just gets stronger every time.
Doesn't count, man.
I should be on it immediately. It just gets better every single time. I love the documentary feel to it. I know it's not, but it has that sort of like shaky cam following people around. One of the things I love about it, and because we might not mention it, is there's these like little micro glances that I know they call, like that's what they called it when Jack Nicholson did it in The Shining, where it's like the quick look at the camera. And obviously, you're not supposed to do that in films, but I think she lets the actors do it, and it works really well. And I love little touches like that in this film. It's better than I've ever give it credit for. Definitely.
Good stuff. Well, I mean, let's go into Frances McDormand. Obviously, she got the Oscar for this. I thought she was unbelievable. As you say, Collie, like there's things that she does, or she has like interactions with some of the supporting cast, which obviously we'll kind of touch on, that are so real. But she's just like incredible in this. I think I think I read somewhere that a couple of the conversations she had with the actual nomads, they didn't even realize she was an actress, just because she was so ingrained and she felt so authentic in the film. So, like, again, it's just testimony to her, testimony to Zhao for getting this environment for her to be so natural and to be so authentic. Again, I'm using that word, but it just felt so real, and she felt like a real person, which in some films or some TV shows, it's kind of hard to do at points to get someone to actually just feel like a real fleshed out person, or someone that you just meet. But she really feels like that. Like there's a story behind her as well. Like when she met her previous kids that she taught in the store and stuff as well. There's like that relationships that kind of come in, but then there's relationships she makes on the road and stuff as well. Yeah, I just think she is absolutely flawless in this film. It's a well deserved Oscar for Frances McDormand. Collie, thoughts on her performance?
Again, to use a word that we used already, but stoic. She just, and a lot of her performances like this is really, I think, comparable to Three Billboards. It's just this like stoic grumpiness, like I don't need anyone, I'm on my own, like fuck everybody else attitude that she has, but she just softens throughout and I mean obviously that's understandable when you get context as to what she's been through and stuff, but she just seems to soften like throughout the film, through interactions with Bob Wells or Swanky or her sister when she goes back to visit, and the conversations it has, like it just opens up this character to us as a viewer through her performance and through her delivery and stuff like that. I think like it's an all-timer performance from an actress that just delivers like all-timer after all-timer after all-timer. And yeah, like I said, like I think the categories or that year of film were quite weird for the Oscars because it was COVID and like what films were released and what films were like, valid to go for it, blah, blah, blah. But I think like regardless of when you look at the, fellow nominees or whoever was up against her that year, I think it was a standout performance that she was always going to win the Oscar for it. It was well deserved. And like I said before, like carries the film, but allows other people to breathe around her and just elevates. She's one of those actresses that elevates everybody that acts around her and doesn't drag them along. Like they come up on their own kind of skills and just, for some of the people that weren't actors and stuff, like just natural realness. But yeah, she's just excellent. She's up there with Daniel Day-Lewis in terms of like, obviously Oscar wins and stuff, and rightfully so. She's one of the best actresses of her generation, if not just ever.
Yeah, totally agree. Todd?
Yeah, echoing everything you say. I think there's so much pain in this performance, but we talked about like William H. Macy recently being like a sad sack. Like there's pain and he's a sad sack. Whereas like Frances McDormand in this, it isn't in any way, shape or form. And I think because she's nobody's fool, she doesn't take shit off anybody. We don't really see her actually take any shit, but you can feel that.
Literally.
Yeah. But I think there's moments in this film where like they're just as devastating as the conversations between in the rider. They're just as devastating as that, but like they're not as overt, if that makes sense. Like that you don't the bit where she gets offered to stay in the church when she's parked and she's like, oh, it gets cold, like that is awful. The job centre where she goes for the interview and you can tell she doesn't want the job, you can tell she doesn't, but she needs it, and she's trying to smile and that smile just keeps drooping. She's fantastic. She's absolutely brilliant in this. And the point about letting other people breathe around her is a fucking fantastic one. Like you don't really think about it, about like how professional she is and how she could just absolutely run away with this. I mean, I know she does. I know she carries it, but as in like everybody else could be like just shot down, and she doesn't do that at all. I think it's, and again, I think that's testament to Zhao and getting the right performance out of the right people. But yeah, McDormand's fantastic in this.
Yep. Mavis, thoughts on France? And yeah, so like we kind of almost touched on about McDormand and her allowing other folk to sort of breathe and stuff. There were some incredible performances from the actual nomads that really blew me away. Specifically, Linda May. She was an absolute standout for me. Like she felt like obviously France McDormand, sorry, Fern's one true friend, or one of her actual friends that are like they'd been through the same sort of things. They've kind of felt the same sort of adversity and stuff as well. And like, see when they're going around on the little golf cart when they're helping out the sort of campsite place, and they're calling themselves like the bad bitches and stuff. Like it was just, I had a smile on my face the whole time watching them. And Linda May I thought was an absolute standout from there. Just I'll also let you guys talk about her and stuff as well, or anyone others you want as well. But David Strathairn, I thought he was incredible as like the kind of like love interest. I love this guy. I only really recognized him, or I watched the film Good Luck and Good Night that he starred in like only a couple months ago, and realized like how good an actor he actually is. And I've seen him in subsequent things, but in this as well, he's just like a great, like, natural love interest, like or not even a love interest. It's like a platonic sort of kind of friendship with that, with a sort of a bit of
On it.
a bit of something in it as well. And I just think that they're incredible, and of course as well, massive shout out to Swanky as well, who obviously is part of a devastating moment for Fern. Colin, was there anyone that stood out for yourself in terms of supporting cast?
The fact that Swanky's not an actress and is just a real life nomad that just blows my mind. Like the monologue that she delivers and the emotion that she puts across and stuff like that. I just that just is crazy to me. David Strathairn, it was amazing though. I thought as Dave, and just the interactions with Fern, like he obviously just immediately likes her and takes a liking to her, but the chat that they have about him being a grandfather, and she's like, just go and be a grandfather, and obviously when they meet up later on down the line, I've seen him in numerous things. I've actually just recently rewatched The Sopranos, where he's kind of like not a baddie in it, but he's a character that you don't like for no spoilers for a 20-year-old series, but he's a guy that you're not a fan of in that, but no, just a great performance by him. Just a supporting cast. Bob Wells as well. This real life, like I think he was like a nomadic like YouTuber kind of guy and stuff like that, and just some of the conversations with him and Fern were beautiful, but just similar to the previous two films that we've talked about, like whether it's trained actors or non-actors, just Zhao just seems to pull these performances out of people and lets people be real, and I think that lends it to be easier for them, because she's obviously just behind the camera being like, just tell me a story, or this is the story I want you to tell, but just deliver it as if it's real, and just the talent that these people have to just be able to do that is incredible. And again, back to Zhao, I think it's a compliment to her that she gets these performances out of people. So yeah, like it's Frances McDormand's film, but the supporting cast are excellent in everything that they're asked to do. Similar to, again, the first two, like nobody stood out to me like that was a bad performance or that was bad delivery or anything like that. I think everybody was great.
Absolutely. Todd, anything to add?
I think
maybe we should start going to Todd first, by the way, like because everyone's just like, I agree.
I do. No, there will be. I'm sure there'll be times coming up shortly where I don't agree. No, I think Swanky for me was the big one. Linda delivers a monologue as well about when she considers killing herself. I thought was, again, absolutely devastating. Just ripped the life out of us. The conversation with Bob at the end, I think Bob did a phenomenal job. Again, with him being a YouTuber, he's got like that sort of that presence about him anyway. But those conversations were incredible. I think Dave just wanting to be around Fern and just like not want like when he breaks the plates and he doesn't know the significance of them and like but you can still see the devastation on his face and like you say that relationship was really interesting because it was bordering on romantic, but I love that they didn't lean into it. I love that they didn't go, right, they're going to be a couple now. That there was just something there that could have possibly, um, moved forward. Um, yeah, I think the supporting cast were amazing, and even is it Angela? I feel like it might be Angela in the Amazon warehouse where she's talking through her tattoos and stuff like that. She was fantastic, and again, it was. I'd love to see a making of documentary. I know, like, there's articles about how it was made, but like to see Zhao's process of getting that from a non-actor, from just somebody who does she make them do it again? Is it a one take thing? Like, I love that. I love that thought. That thought process that you must have to go through. But yeah, I thought they were everybody was fantastic. Everybody.
Good stuff. Anything else with that?
No, I'm good
no?
for topics for me.
Excellent. Okay. So, right, favorite quote. For myself, it was Bob's little monologue. So, one of the things I love most about this life, is that there's no final goodbye. I've met hundreds of people out there, and I don't ever say a final goodbye. I always just say, "I'll see you down the road," and I do. And whether it's a month or a year or sometimes years, I see them again. Lovely, absolutely lovely. It's almost like a poem. Collie?
I get a follow up quote to yours is when he says, "I can look down the road and I can be certain in my heart that I'll see my son again. You'll see Bo again, and you can remember your lives together then as well." Wonderfully, written, wonderfully delivered, and just really, I guess, like symbolic, or it kind of sums up the kind of the message of the film.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Todd?
I have to mention the delivery of the sonnet. I can't really call it a quote because it's not really a part of the film's script, but I thought that was stunning. But it was the delivery of a quote for me more than anything. It was, "I'm gonna be good." It was when she gets offered the church and she says she's gonna stay in the thing, and I assure, because it gets called out here, and Frances McDormand says, "I'm gonna be good." And fuck me if I didn't like want to have a breakdown there and then and be like, it just accept the help. It was fantastic.
Just quickly on that. When you were talking about before with Dave, like smashing the plates, and you could see his regret. Obviously, I don't think he knew the context as to those plates, and we know it because she was speaking earlier in the film, obviously, of like, my dad collected these and all that. So I've never been like so emotionally upset about plates breaking before, because as soon as you realize that it's the plate set that her dad got her and stuff, you're like, oh no. And then it obviously cuts to her like gluing them together and stuff like that. But it's just those little things, and the way that like Zhao like refers back to stuff earlier in the film, and that, I think it was I think it was great. But yeah, that delivery of "I'm gonna be good," and it's that kind of stubbornness. I think she plays a stubborn character really well, Frances McDormand, like, of "I'm gonna be good," and I think that kind of sums up, similar to what I was saying about the Bob quote. I think that is a summation of Fern and how the film is, and it's like, you got to make your own way, and yeah, you can have a support network, but at the end of the day, if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere with a flat tire, you're going to have to be the one to fix it and stuff. So it's all about learning to be self-sufficient in that as well.
Absolutely. And Colin, I would just say, if you get that emotional about plates, then I'm just glad you're not Greek. Scene.
I don't want to be Greek anyway, because Scotland pumped Greece the other night anyway. So even though Steve Clark should be sacked according to you, but I love how you were like raging, and then you had to quote tweet it when we won, being like, "Oh, I'm glad we won it," like, but he was still a disgrace.
Hey, we're talking about movies here. Okay, so favorite scene. For me, it's not a full scene as such, but it's the smile Fern gives to Dave, which is on the way back after having sprinted off. Because, like, well, I suppose it kind of all encompasses itself the same thing. But when she can almost see herself feeling a bit more towards him, and then she just sprints off into the the canyon.
Is that when he's delivering the kind of explanation about the formation to the rocks and stuff like that?
Yeah. He's just turns the
class.
sprints off. But then when she comes back, when he shouts at her, "You find anything?" and she says, "Just rocks." Like it's almost like a sort of like schoolboy kind of immature relationship. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really good scene.
She does have that kind of girlish, like fun bit underlying to her, and I think McDormand delivers that really, really well for sure.
Absolutely. Collie?
For me, I was torn between how to do it because one scene is then reflected in the other, but it's Swanky talking about having cancer, and she says like it was going to be my quote, but it's a whole monologue, and she's like, "I'm going to be 75 this year." Pretty good life. And then she talks about being in Colorado and seeing this hundreds of swallows nests and stuff like that. And just when she says my life was complete, if I died right then at that moment, it would be perfectly fine. And then the way that it refers back to when Byrne's watching it on her phone and just the music swell at that point, and you see the swallows in the nests and her Swanky dropping the like eggshell into the water and stuff like that. I thought it was beautiful. So I guess it's like mirroring scenes, but just when Swanky's actually just delivering, you know, that kind of I'm 75 this year and I've had a good life kind of thing. I think that was a standout scene for me.
Mm-hmm. And Todd?
It was the zoo.
That was funny.
When you're talking about it was in Songs My Brother Taught Me, and that you get that one moment where Deshawn actually has like a smile on her face and it's genuine. I feel like that was one of the only moments where she just wasn't a nomad anymore, that she was just a person on a date with a guy that she liked, and like it was just lovely. And like you say, that girlish charm that she brings to it was there with the crocodile, where she's like pushing him. Alligator.
And she's like, what the hell is that? Like when she's like he's getting fed like what is it, the rabbit or something like that, and she's like, "You're gonna go for you next" and stuff. And
stood with the snake on her, and she's like there, like just shit herself, but still enjoying herself. I thought it was lovely, like to be able to see that side of Fern, and I thought McDormand did it very, very well.
Good stuff. Again, this might be a unanimous one, but MVP for me, obviously McDormand. I would say second, Linda May. Collie?
For me, it Frances McDormand. It should be Frances McDormand, but I'm actually going to say it's Ludovico Iannutti, the guy who did the music for it. So a lot of piano, a lot of string work and stuff, and I was like, this really reminds me of something. I wonder what it is. And he did all the music for This Is England.
Okay.
The movie and the TV series, and as soon as I read that, I was like, that's exactly what it is. It's the way that it's like brings into scenes and the montages, and I don't know, it's just something about his music. And just on this, because it's a couple of bits of trivia, but he wasn't even nominated for the Oscar for this, but he also did The Father this year. He did the music for The Father and Nomadland, which are both nominated. One Best Actor, Actress, Picture, Director, all that. They were fighting for the same ones. But it went to Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor for Soul, which is a fine, like, Pixar film or whatever, perfectly fine. But they were nominated for that and for Mank. Like, Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor did the music for both. They were both nominated for two films in the same category, and Ludovico Iannutti wasn't nominated for this or The Father. I've never watched The Father, probably never will.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were nominated twice and he wasn't nominated once, I think is really harsh. And if he was to be nominated, I would have hoped that he would win. I'll come back round to the Oscars after Todd's delivered his MVP and talked about that, just about the Oscars in general to do with this. But Todd, who was your MVP?
It was Frances McDormand for me. Yeah,
fair. That's understandable, especially with how much we've talked about it. And like, I'm not. She would be my MVP, but I just thought it was worth mentioning that the music in this was a standout for me. And when I clicked it was This Is England, I was like, oh my god, that's exactly the kind of emotions that I'm feeling through the music that you feel in This Is England, the movie and the TV series. But yeah, about the Oscars, like, it was a relatively weak year, as I've mentioned a few times, because of COVID and the like. But I feel like Nomadland winning, Best Picture, Director, really well deserved. Chloe Zhao, the second ever woman to win the Best Director Oscar, which, like I say, well deserved. It lost on cinematography to Mank, which you don't like Mank, Todd? You
No,
hate Mank?
I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a
Yeah,
fan at
I
all.
remember you really dislike it. Well, obviously, we'll do Fincher on the episode one day, so I won't go too much into it. But I just feel, having not watched Mank for a few years, I remember enjoying it, but having not watched it for a few years, the fact that like one cinematography over this, I feel quite hard done by for this film. I think you know, some of the shots, this golden hour stuff that we are talking about before, and that, like, some of the vista shots, but the documentary style, like zoomed in faces, the conversation between Bob and Fern and stuff like that, like the way that was shot, yeah, just lovely, just beautiful. So yeah, I just kind of feel that as much as it won Best Picture and Director, which is great, obviously, to win to lose out, sorry, on some of the other awards and not even be nominated, I feels really harsh. Mm-hmm. Especially in a down year of the Oscars.
I was just having a quick look actually at Mank, and one of the recent views is just, this looks like shit.
Oh, about Nomadland?
No, about Mank.
Oh, right, okay, about Jesus, Mank, so. Okay, sorry, right, yeah. See, I can't remember it looking bad or anything like that, but just having watched this, maybe I should watch Mank like soon, because I know we won't do Fincher for quite a while, but maybe I should watch it soon to compare it or whatever. But yeah, I'm never watching The Father though.
no, I did. Yeah,
the Father is very much a one and done. Yeah. It was phenomenal, and I'm pleased I've watched it. Never again.
Well, quite a morbid way to put about it, but I might, like, in a way, save it for, you know, when Anthony Hopkins passes, almost. If I'm gonna, like, because like I did like a couple of Redford films recently, Gene Hackman and stuff like that. When they pass, I kind of try and do a whiz through some of their standout films just to remember them for, you know, the icons that they were. Obviously, like, I watch Silence of the Lambs relatively often, but maybe that may be a Hopkins one to kind of remember him by, which is a really morbid thing to say, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't have any inclination to watch it.
Yeah.
The only thing that would really motivate me to watch it, unfortunately, would be him passing to remember him by. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's no more trivia or thoughts or anything like that on Nomadland.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll go scores then. Well, for myself, 5 stars easily. Chloe?
Yeah, 5 for me.
And Todd?
I initially went 4, and then I bumped it out. I will be bumping it up, but I know. Again, I think it's just that idea of, like, sitting and being like, "What's happening?" But appreciating it more every time. But yeah,
I think, like, you can argue that with all 3 films that we talked about, that you're just like going to be like, "What's happening here? Why are we watching this? Why am I interested in this?" But yeah.
I'll take the J's. Instead
of giving fucking every 2025 horror 5 stars, maybe actually give deserving films.
Him got 3.5 actually.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the final movie in the Chloe Zhao filmography. For now, of course, until this afternoon for Call the Anime. So we are going on to Eternals. So it's obviously a Marvel film, the saga of the Eternals, a race of mortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilization. Well, for me, I'll go first again. If you've not heard my thoughts already, you can go back to Delivery for Tony Stank, which was a podcast that I ran, and maybe coming back at some point, that was about Marvel, and I spoke extensively about Eternals. It's a film that disappointed me in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things it did right, a lot of things it didn't do very well. A big change in Chloe Zhao's kind of filmmaking process, I suppose, or at least the film that was made. Is that because of the sort of studio? Maybe, but it was a kind of departure from her normal. There's a couple of things that kind of carries on from the other films that I've seen, like theme wise and stuff as well. But in terms of a film as a whole, it was quite a disappointing watch. Would have, and this is something that's been spoken about a lot on like Twitter and things as well. I think it probably would have fit more as a TV show, being able to let the things breathe. But here we are. It's got a stacked cast, and enjoyed some of it, but was disappointed by quite a lot as well. We'll go Todd first then, instead of collective unit. Todd, what were your thoughts?
So the first time I watched this, I was very much just like, yes, it's decent. It's like a fun little watch and stuff, and I think it was like It was one of those like stick it on with tea or whatever and just enjoy yourself. Watching it almost analytically for this, I'm not going to watch it again because I think it will just get worse on further watches. I was bored by it. I was annoyed by a lot of it as well. There's some really good bits about it, but there's also a lot that stands out as being poor, really, really poor. And I think that is from not from a cinematography point of view. I think it looks really good, but I think the performances, the writing is fucking dog shit. Really bad. The level of exposition is shocking. And like you say, maybe if it was a TV show, they could have got a bit more of that. But yeah, it's not something that I'll be watching in a hurry again. Unfortunately.
Collie?
I remember being quite disappointed when it came out. Not that you were ever hoping for, like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy to be repeated, because this has the recipe of you're getting introduced to like a team of, you know, heroes that you don't really know, all that kind of stuff. I think it like has, so Guardians 1, I love Guardians 1, but the weakness for me is like the main villain in Guardians 1, and I think this is the same. Don't really care about the villain of the story. The writing is terrible, like, exactly like you say. Like Zhao has a writing credit on it, but the three guys that she wrote it with haven't really done much else. One of them wrote part of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is it's weird. Like, I tried to watch this in the context of not a Marvel film.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I originally watched it like years ago, it was just watched as a Marvel film, and I was a bit let down by it. I enjoyed it a little bit more watching it as a Chloe Zhao film, because some of it's like beautiful, like some of the historical civilizations. A standout scene that I'll come back to, obviously, when we do the topics later, is really well done. I think like CGI in that wise, I didn't think I was like, you know, was any bits like, oh, that looked like shit, because this is like in the kind of time zone in Marvel that the CGI was being a bit of a letdown and stuff. But I think if anything, the story, the script writing, and some of the performances were the detractors on this. I don't think from a Zhao perspective, I'm disappointed with it, because obviously it's a big departure for her, but I think there's enough of her influence in it to make it good. But when the studio's getting involved, and there's other writers and stuff like that, I think that's what detracts from the film. So anything negative that I've got to say about this, I don't really feel falls on Zhao. Obviously, like, she is the director that's attached to it, but knowing what we know about Disney, Marvel, all that kind of stuff, like studio influence and that, like, I think maybe her vision and what she wanted it has been twisted somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we got in the end with this film.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Totally agree. Well, let's kind of move on to sort of like the cast. Obviously, Collie said about a couple of performances maybe didn't quite like. As I said at the top, it's a really stacked cast. I'll just run through everyone, and then we can kind of like pick out, you know, pick and choose who we want to talk about. Got Gemma Chan as Cersei, Richard Madden as Icarus, Angelina Jolie as Thena, Salma Hayek as Ajak, Kit Harington, Dane Whitman, Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo, Liam McHugh as Sprite, Brian Tyree Henry as Fastos, Lauren Ridloff as Makari, Barry Keoghan as Druig, Don Lee as Gilgamesh, Harish Patel as Karun, and Bill Skarsgård is obviously the main bad guy, who I think I said about this in my Delivery for Tony Stark thing. I don't think we ever get told his name, but he has a name, which is Crow. But yeah, he's the main bad guy. So we can kind of pick and choose, or you know, if you want to run through everyone, we certainly can do.
Maybe just do a couple of standouts and a couple of not as good ones or whatever. Like, I don't want to go like they were good, they were shite, they were good, they were shite. Like,
just do pros and like good and bad, just good shite. Good
yeah,
shite,
pretty
good
much,
shite.
yeah.
Or good guy wank.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Gemma Chan. She brings a level of humanity to Eternals for me. I'm looking at Collie's face, and I'm not sure if he agrees. I really liked her. I thought there was kind of two almost kind comedic relief in the team, which was Kumail Nanjiani and Brian Tyree Henry. I preferred Kumail Nanjiani more than I liked Brian Tyree Henry's character, because I felt like his humor fitted a bit more in the kind of context of things. And I thought Barry Keoghan was really good. I really enjoyed him as Druig. I thought that he was a bit menacing, but also you understood his kind of thoughts and his sort of motivations. But yeah, those were kind of the three that I would say sort of stood out for myself in terms of I thought they were really good. Todd, do you want to talk about a couple of good ones, good characters?
I'm with you on Gemma Chan. I thought she was solid. I thought she was believable. I liked the relationships she had. I thought her delivery was decent, which maybe it's because she didn't have some of the ridiculous things to do that some of the others did. I also I like Richard Madden. I thought it was middle of the road, but I thought he was fine.
I just love to call his face.
I thought it was sort of like they make the joke about Superman, but I thought it was that level of like, do you know what I mean? He didn't rock the boat, but yeah, it was okay. I'm with you on Barry Keoghan. Unfortunately, I'm not with you on Kumail Nanjiani. I fucking hated him. I hated the
Tell us how you really feel, Todd.
and I'd like to point out, as an actor, I love him, and as a comedian and as a guy on like interviews and stuff, I think he's fantastic. In this, the smug, and I know it's part of his character. It made me want to switch the film off. And his little pal, who was
don't you dare! Don't you dare!
No way.
Hated him.
Wow. You? How about that?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, great. Because honestly, every time he got that stupid fucking camera out, I wanted to stick it down his throat. I fucking despise. I hated everything about that.
You've lost the plot.
I hated everything about it. It was cheesy. It was tacky. I hated it. Yeah, it really pissed me off.
So you only liked Richard Madden and Gemma Chan?
Barry Keoghan, I thought was good. I really like Barry Keoghan. The problem is what they're given a lot of the time. So like Don Lee, the bit with the pie, really like where it's a really sad moment, and it's like and he's got that and it drops off the pan, and we're supposed to go like piss off. Stop it! All these slapstick moments from these great actors, like I thought Kit Harington sounded like he was reading from a script the entire time. I've rated this higher than I thought. Higher than I probably should have. It wasn't great.
Chloe.
So Gemma Chan, like I thought she was fine, but there was one like proper. Who's Wonder Woman again? What's her name?
Gal Gadot.
There was a proper Gal Gadot moment for me, where like Arisham's like explaining the blah 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 blah, the emergence stuff like that, and like you see the scene and it's like the whole of the earth like exploding in this celestial, and she's like, but all humankind will die or something like that. She says to him, I'm like. Obviously, like just the way that she delivered it was proper, like Kal-El, no kind of delivery. I was like, oh my god! But overall, I thought she was really good. Funnily enough, what you're saying about Kit Harington, I thought Richard Madden, I thought he was really wooden.
Yes,
and obviously, like subsequently, like Denis Villeneuve came out and said, "Oh, we really want like an unknown actor for James Bond and stuff." But a lot of chat was for Richard Madden. A lot of people were pushing for him. Maybe 10 years ago or whatever, like Game of Thrones time, but this is like 5 years ago, 4 years ago or whatever, so he's aged out of maybe where they're wanting to put it, but this, I remember at the time being like, oh, I do not want him to be James Bond if he's still touted for it, because I thought it was crap. I thought it was really, really bad. So Kingo, I didn't really like Kingo, but I loved Karun. I thought he was so cute and funny and stuff like that, but see with Kingo, I think love Thor Ragnarok, like love it, but I think it ruined Marvel for a good few years after it, because they all seem to want to have these throwaway lines and this slapsticky stuff with the pie. And when they're visiting Barry Keoghan, they're talking about Signal, and he's like, "Oh, how many bars have you got?" and stuff, and it just like derails the flow of it. And that's like, I'd bet my house on that. That's not a Chloe Zhao thing. That's these other three idiots that wrote the script. They're like, "Oh, this is what Marvel wants, is stupid jokes like that." Like, no way I think Chloe Zhao would ever want something like that. Like, fair enough having some comedy in it, but just like that kind of jokes, like, I just didn't think would be her. Really didn't like Sprite. I thought she was annoying as fuck as well. We've not actually, neither of you mentioned it, but I thought Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek, I thought they were excellent. I thought they were like, you could tell they were like a pedigree above. Neither of them had much to do, because I think that's one detractor of the film, is there's too many characters and there's so much like to try and cram in, which is, it's a slog, some of this film. Like, it's fucking far too long, but I think it needed to be, to allow any like character to have even like 5 minutes on the screen. But I thought Angelina Jolie was really good. Her, is it Gilgamesh or Fastos that she Gilgamesh that she's got that connection to. So I thought their relationship was really nice. I thought Salma Hayek as the kind of mother figure of the whole group, even though like she's killed off early, which was a surprise, obviously. I thought she was really good. She's a really good actress. So I thought, rightfully so, they were like an elevation like above. But I thought like Barry Keoghan was decent. I thought Mikari, as obviously the deaf superhero, I thought she was really good from a physicality standpoint. Obviously, she had to have that about her. So there were some like real ones that really like took me out of it. But I think like the cast overall, we're fine. We're good enough for me to enjoy it. There was just sometimes when, I think more what you're saying, Todd, like when certain characters were speaking, or it was their time to be set, like the film to center on them, I was a bit like, oh, just kind of get over and done with. So cast wise, you know, like some highs, but some significant lows as well.
I think for me,
sorry. And just one thing. Why have Bill Skarsgård in this if you're going to utilize him like that? What a fucking waste. What an absolute waste. One of the arguably best like physical character actors that we've got, you know, playing Pennywise, and fair enough, he was in The Crow, which was terrible, but like he was giving his all in that. So like give him something to do, but you could have had some fucking like absolute jabroni play that and you wouldn't have known any fucking difference. So that's, I can't even recall, because it's years ago obviously since I've seen it. I can't even remember if I knew that Bill Skarsgård was in it, or if it was an after the fact of like, oh, that was Bill Skarsgård, by the way, and you're just like, could have been some fucking guy off the street for all I care, or for all I knew, you know?
I mean, Count Orlok, for fuck's sake, like.
Well, yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think my issue, or not it's not even my issue really with like Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek, is that with what they were given, like they weren't given enough for it to be. Like, this is where I
don't think that's reflective of them, though.
No,
like,
exactly.
If we're talking about performance-wise, like anything they got given to them, I think they delivered with, you know, that heightened acting ability. Whereas, like Madden, I felt like was just exactly what Todd said. I felt it was just being delivered as if it was like a teleprompter behind the camera sometimes.
Yep. This is where, for me, it would have been great as a TV show. I think you could introduce characters individually, or at least kind of let them mix to a point where the final episode is their big kind of get together emergence sort of thing. It's definitely wasted. You're right about Lauren Ridloff as Mikari as well. I thought like her physicality stuff and the way that they showed her like speed on screen was fantastic, I thought. But again, she shows up halfway through. It's or like properly get introduced back into her halfway through, and she's just sitting on this on the ship and stuff, and yeah, just a bit of a waste for me. 100% with you. I didn't talk about obviously who I didn't like. So Sprite, I hated her. Absolutely hated Sprite. Hated the whole motivation around her as well. It didn't do it for me. It felt creepy. It felt weird. It felt not good. And her performance was just terrible. It was amateur.
I think a lot of it was to do with the writing of her character, but I don't even think performance-wise, like, again, just felt very wooden and stilted for me.
100%.
Just like her growth.
Todd, I know you kind of argued about, or you were angry with Karun for some reason. But anyone else?
Don't let him talk on Karun ever again. Leave him alone.
I could go for a bit, like, you know. I can.
Don't.
Say it.
No, okay. Collie, anyone else you want to talk about? I think we kind of covered good, bad.
I think we've covered the cast. To be
Just
honest,
one more thing I want to talk about, and obviously it's a part of the post credits. But Harry Styles as Eros is, and with Pip the Troll as well. It's Thanos' brother. Thoughts?
I thought it was fine. I think Harry Styles is a good actor. Like, but will they ever bring him back? I don't know. But I think you kind of covered it in your Tony Stank episode. Like, really good in Dunkirk. I don't think when you covered this, obviously the Don't Worry Darling came out or anything like that. But like, I thought that was a decent film. I thought he was good in it. I think he is a decent actor. Whether they'll ever bring him back or not, because they seem to have just completely, like, for years they just forgot that this film even existed. It was only until Captain America this year that they kind of referenced the big fuck off celestial in the sea or whatever.
Yeah, I wrote a wee note about that it where was it? Well, what I would say as well is there's also the referenced in Marvel Zombies. Icarus is in that, if you've not seen it.
No, I've not seen it, so no.
But yeah, so I said about Tiamat coming out of the ocean, which I think is really cool, really well done. But it wasn't referenced for 4 years. It took 9 films and 7 TV shows set on Earth to mention a celestial coming out of the ground. That's crazy for me. Like, that is actually insane.
I don't know if that's because of the poor performance of the box office or whatever, but I think if anything, we can take hope from the fact that this maybe means that Chloe Zhao won't be bothering with franchise movies. That being said, I think like one of her future projects is she's attached to do something to do with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the reboot of that. But
wow.
But in terms of like big studio Marvel movies and stuff like that, like I'd like to think that this isn't really seen as a Chloe Zhao flop. I'd say it's more of a Marvel exhaustion flop. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Anything else you want to talk about in terms of like the film or anything? Then I know we kind of talk about cast a bit. No, Todd.
No, topics for me is fine. If sorry, Todd, on you go.
I just think sense of scale with the Celestials was really impressive. I think that shot of Salma Hayek talking to it, like, you know, and then it's sort of like that sort of extreme wide shot of it was really impressive. I think there is some stuff to, like, I whinged because like when you talk about the direction, a lot of, you know, like when Deadpool talks about superhero landing and he like laughs about it, there's a lot of that sort of stuff in here, like where like Don Lee like walks forward and like it's like half a second of still and then they go into the action and that sort of stuff needs to be left behind for some of the really well done stuff.
I thought the fights and stuff in this were very forgettable.
Yeah.
It was just like this fucking, I don't know what the fuck it was, like liony, tigery kind of dog deviant thing appears and then they punch it for a little bit and then that's it. And that happens like 3 or 4 times. It's pretty boring.
And there's the guy, and so Kingo shoots out yellow balls and Icarus shoots out yellow beams, and then it's just all yellow.
And the Unimind light thing when the connect is yellow. And,
yeah, absolutely.
I thought their ship was cool. I thought that was really cool design wise. I think Chloe Zhao was quoted saying that she took a lot of influence from Prometheus and stuff like that when it comes to that early kind of architecture and that kind of shipbuilding and all that kind of stuff. So you could definitely see the comparisons there.
Definitely. Okay, let's go to topics then. So, well, quote for me. You guys are gonna hate. Well, Todd's gonna hate with this one. But it was Kingo. It was, and he's like, Karun, I've worked with him 50 years. I trust him completely. Actually, when we first met, he thought I was a vampire. He tried to stake me through the heart. And Karun, I've apologized so many times. Kingo, not quite enough times. Very close though. I like that.
Yeah, that was my quote as well. That was my quote as well. Yeah.
Oh, good. Todd.
Fuck you, Todd.
It was actually a quip. It was the when he's talking about being referred to as Superman, and he says, "I'm going to start calling you Clark," and he said, "You've called me worse." I thought that was a nice little interaction between the two of them. That was really well done and really well timed. Yeah.
See the way you said quip? I don't know why. That totally got me there.
Quip.
Quip.
Why?
uh, favorite scene for me, Tiamat rising out the sea is one of the most incredible things Marvel's given us, looks wise. I think it's unbelievable, and that's what's annoyed me so much, the fact that it's hardly, well, it's not been referenced for, as I say, 4 years and 5,000 projects. It's unbelievable. Collie?
The Arishem explaining to Cersei about the emergence, I thought that scene was really, really cool. Like the CGI, I thought was pretty flawless throughout that. And obviously it's like a big exposition scene, but I thought just how the way it was shot and the way it looked was excellent.
It showed and it told.
Yeah.
Todd?
It's not a war, it's a genocide. I thought was where they just stood watching. They just stood watching this death happen in front of them, and like that conversation about why we don't step in and stuff. I thought of all the exposition, that was done really well. That like it showed and told that like I like this. That like why they don't and what they're doing, and like it was a real representation of it. And I thought that was really well handled and really well done.
Cool. MVP. I don't know why. I understand why I've done this, but I don't know why I've added this bit in. Anyway, I put down MVP. Mikari, probably because she didn't have to speak, so we didn't get shite lines sound like they were fed through her asshole. Second, Karun. Collie?
Why did you read that out? Why did you read that out? Just say Karun, like.
That's how in the ether.
Yeah, Karun was my MVP. I loved him. I thought he was cool.
Yeah. Todd Karun, yeah. Cool.
It's a flowers. Barry for me. I thought he was solid.
Barry White. Barry Chuckle.
Barry Keoghan.
Oh, right, cool. Awesome. Okay, ratings then.
I'm on first name terms.
So for me, 3 stars. Todd?
I've gone 3. I can't believe I've rated it the same as Songs My Brother Taught Me. Yeah, 3 for now.
You gonna watch it again, yeah? Put it lower.
I might just hate watch it so I can rate it lower next time.
Watch it on 3 times.
Collie?
I gave it 3.5.
Perfect. Excellent. Wow. We're done with Zoe. Chloe Zhao.
Zoe Clow, yes.
Zoe Clow, yeah. So we, as always, whenever we're finished with a person, we will then rank their films from best to worst. So I'll go first. In fact, we'll start worst to best, just for for a bit of climacticness.
Like we always do, but yeah,
Like
sure.
4, I've got Eternals. 3, I've got Songs My Brother Taught Me. 2, The Rider, and then 1, Nomadland. Collie?
Yep, exact same as me.
Perfect. Todd?
Same as me. Yeah, exactly the same.
Well, that was good. Nice and
enjoyed that episode a lot more than I thought I was gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
me
just
too.
like December's episodes. Talking about December's episode, or their next episode anyway, I think the next one is your choice, eh, Collie? Who are we talking about next?
We're going to be talking about Kevin Smith, so it's a biggie. So we're going to be covering Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jersey Girl, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, Red State, Tusk, Yoga Hosers, and the 4:30 movie. So a big 3-parter coming up.
3 parts. I'm really excited for that. I think I'm maybe
Plus, my last 2 choices will be our first 2 like 3-parters, yeah. Because Paul Thomas Anderson was mine
Oh,
as
of
well.
course.
So.
Yeah. We'll see how well this one goes then, eh? But yeah, well, that is us. So finish Chloe Zhao. Next one is obviously going to be Kevin Smith, as you said, to us, Collie. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, put a wee comment down below about what you think of Karun, and just to make sure that Todd is in the minority here. And of course, if you're listening on Spotify, remember to follow, like, and again, you can also comment on Spotify. So please do let us know what you thought, and we'll see you next time for our Kevin Smith episode. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks.